show. I'm invested in this story. As a Southeast Asian mother with a son who's also mixed Cambodian,
Oh.
my son's mixed Cambodian, and it pulled at my heartstrings. Like, what is it about the story that made you want to tell it through a Southeast Asian lens? And then for Elodie, it referenced your Cambodian heritage. Like, what was it that drew you into the story?
You're asking me everything, Laura. Everything. It's
You created it through.
Yes, it's just originally it was written for a Filipina woman. So as soon as I landed the part and they said that they wanted to embrace my origins, my background, I was like, okay, let me give you a list of names. Let's start with this. I really like this name. This is my dad's cousins, Tony. So I just wanted to do justice, and I wanted to represent, I'm proud of that part of me. And I grew up, in a mixed race culture. I don't know if it's a word, but, I grew up in France. My dad is Cambodian, but I've been very, very close to the Cambodian culture because my dad and his cousins and uncles and aunts, they've all lost someone. And so they recomposed, and then they kind of like had a very, very tight, extra tight bond because they had to recompose. So none of my aunts and uncles are my aunts and uncles. I don't know who they are, but they are my aunts and uncles. You know what I mean? It's like this notion of family that we do have in the show. I've used it, it's not like, doesn't matter if you're direct family, if you're blood related, there is something like this in my dad's culture, and something that in my life that I've had, which is we're a family. We're tight, we bond tightly. And I've had that with Martha instantly, and we've used it for the bond between, Fiona and Tony. They're not sisters, but it just feels like we're sisters. And I think it's because both of our characters are going through so much. And I don't know how Martha approached it, but I definitely know that for me, it was tied to my Cambodian background and what I know of, embracing, being together in the depth of tragedy, bonding strong, having each other's back. And this family is important. So I brought that to the character. I also know that, my dad's resilience is something that is quiet, and that is something, it's so strong in him, but it's also, it's so subtle. It's just a way of living and enjoying life, and life throws things at you. Like in Tony's life, things have, life is throwing a lot at her, but she silently has to carry on because you fight for your loved ones. You also, you have to survive. So I definitely have experienced that in my life through my dad, and I think unconsciously I've used it for Tony.
Well, yeah, and it's such a beautiful story, the way that you both crafted this story. And what I want to know is that Miranda, you could have pulled from different stories, Latinx culture, from other Asian cultures. What is it that you wanted to create it through a Southeast Asian lens, which actually has not been told before as well?
Definitely. I mean, that was one inspiration, that it has not been done. It has not been told. But I also wanted to create a character that defied all the stereotypes. So yes, she's a cleaning lady, but also she is a doctor, and she has all, she is not anything that you expect. And most of the time you don't even expect anything. You just disregard your cleaning lady, or, you don't consider them. And I think what was important to me was to basically bring these voices that are normally, pushed into the shadows and unseen and unheard, and bring them to the forefront. And that's really what mattered to me and inspired me about creating the show, and to show somebody who could, surmount all the obstacles and challenges that were thrown against her. And despite all the odds that are stacked against her, that she is able to survive and make her own rules and create her own boundaries and find her own voice. So it was important to me to tell that story through the Southeast Asian lens.
What I really want to know is about Fiona and Tony's relationship, because they have a sisterhood between them as in-laws dealing with the same situation of being in the States. But secrets are being kept now, but you can't help but feel Fiona's going to be loyal towards her brother than her sister-in-law. What can we expect between this dynamic between the two, from both of you, from your playing it and also writing it? But what can we expect from this relationship? Because her brother is her brother.
Her brother's a brother, and there's a blood tie here, but like I just said, I think there's like extra glue between Fiona and Tony, because they are kind of single moms in the situation that, they found themselves. They're women. They're like, they fight for their kids. I mean, to me, Fiona and Tony, they're like the heart and soul of this story. And I feel like, Fiona is like Mother Meerkat, and Tony's like, I don't know, Mother Wolf. I don't know, but it just feels like they're single animals and then kind of like having each other's back. And it is because of the situation. I mean, Fiona's situation, she's undocumented. I don't know what I can reveal, Miranda, about the storyline. Well, there's a bunch that, she's kind of like, Fiona's character has like a pathological liar disease. Like she's a compulsive liar. So she's in too deep, and she hides a lot. So she'll have to face a lot. It's gonna blow in her face at some point. And Tony's kind of on the same path as well. But at some point they will have to say, okay, let's face it together. And the situation brings them even, I think, tighter than anything else, than any other bond. I think it's like extra glue sisterhood bond.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I'd call her a pathological liar, but more that she's had to keep secrets in her life.
That was a joke.
just to clarify.
That's a joke, but kind of like, I don't know, we should ask Martha about it. That's her take on the character. I don't know.
Right. But she's had her own struggles. She's had her own issues to deal with. And because of that, she's, you both keep secrets from each other. Yeah. And it is partly to protect each other as well. And to answer the question about, the loyalties and all relationships are complicated. And so we wanted to not simplify that, not simplify, well, that's a brother, that's her, sister-in-law, best friend. And they do have a bond, and that's what makes it interesting, is that it is complex. It's not easy. And when you love two people who are in conflict, how do you navigate that situation? So and there's no straight answer, there's no right answer. And it is, and part of her journey, all their journey is to navigate these relationships in the best way they can, in a way that it enables them to continue to support each other.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love that Tony is taking control of the situation, and it does feel empowering, but it's also heartbreaking to know that her power is limited due to her circumstances. Her documentation status, her son's life. What is it that keeps her going strong against these powerful forces that can take her down at any moment?
Well, she can't give up, right? I mean, she's got a son that's dying. If she gives up, then who's going to do the job? Who's going to save him? That's the only clear and only goal for her. She needs to find solutions in order to enable him to live, it's a timely situation, clock sticking. So she doesn't have the luxury to make plan, and she has to be reactive, and so that's how she is. She reacts and try to make the best decisions in the moment, and maybe she does not make the best decisions. I don't know, but I know that it always comes from a place of, I need I just don't have a choice. I need to make it work. I need to survive. I need to find a solution. And how many people are, we're in a fiction, but how many people in real life have to make tragic, horrible decisions? And, and you don't have, I don't think you even think. I think you just react and you just do what your guts are telling you to do to protect your loved ones.
Yeah, Toni has to
Survive.
make a lot of compromises, and she has to navigate a world that she never thought she'd be in. She was never a criminal. She never wanted to be a criminal and still doesn't. But she is forced to make choices, hard choices, in order to save her son. And so she's basically walking this tightrope of morality through this landmine of moral graves throughout the series. And that's what's exciting, is that part of her journey is how she's going to maintain her moral center and her integrity throughout all of this.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I can't wait for everyone to watch this. It just touched me in so many different ways, and as a mom, as a Southeast Asian person, and as just like as a viewer watching the story, it transcended me. So I just want to say thank you for it, and I can't wait for everyone to see it.
Thank you so much.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Comics, movies, and TV.